Okay, let's do spot the difference, or spot the lack of difference, or just spot the synchronicity here with the event with Charlie Kirk and the location of that event and the set of Back to the Future, the clock tower, the town square. We're going to go through some interesting synchronicities with those two um, locations. Okay. Anyway, so what this is here, this is Charlie Kirk he's arriving at the venue, and they're actually driving down a little what do you call it, a back road, but it's what it is you can just see make the crowd out the other side of this building here, and there's a sort of it's not a very short little tunnel that goes through there. It's not really a tunnel, it's really just a building that there's really just a building over the top of this thing, and it's kind of a walkway through. Okay, but we're going to just call it the tunnel for ease of talking, right? The other side of there is this sort of amphitheater type setup, which we'll talk about in just a minute. But I just wanted to note, when he's coming in here, they're driving down this pathway here, and I'll show you a clip of what's going on. Actually, I'll show you what's going on here from above. So we've got the thing on. I believe they're driving in this way down this path, and this is where the crowd all set up over here. You can see the crowd through this tunnel, and they've got the tent set up there somewhere. Notice Hall of Flags. We'll talk about that in just a second. And notice this whole building looks like a brick wall here. Okay, which is interesting with when we're talking about the Hoover Dam. Okay, so anyway, they're coming in this way. He's going to walk through here, and of course, after he gets shot, they're going to whip him back out through there, load him in an SUV. I think maybe they take off that way. I'm not 100% sure on that. They might just go back out that way. I'm not sure. But it would make logical sense to follow on with Back to the Future that they went out this way. Anyway, notice what we've got here. Okay, the first thing we need to note is that this, well, if we just extend it out a bit, we've got something very interesting going on. Okay, we've got a pyramid basically, and this is very reminiscent of the Eye of Providence on the dollar bill. Yeah, kind of interesting with this all being greeny as well, coloured in this picture. This is really what it looks like over here. I don't know if you can make that out. There's the blue. You can tell it's water in this picture here, but these are water features, I guess you'd call them. And interesting, the shape of them. Okay, and it's interesting. We want to look at this pathway here. Okay, this pathway we want to take special notice of the grey pathway down to the Hall of Flags. Okay, let me show you. Okay, let's delete that off of there now. Let me show you Back to the Future when Marty arrives in 1955. We were talking about this scene. He's walking backwards here down this grey pathway. Yeah, it's going to form this V here. Yeah, and what do we have? We have this flag right here. It's kind of interesting. It looks like the flag's at half mast here, which is kind of interesting with what happened, obviously, after Charlie Kirk was supposedly assassinated. Or all the flags around the country were being flown at half mast. Okay, but again, this is we've got the Hall of Flags right here. Okay, the Hall of Flags. Okay, and so we went through this scene. Let me get rid of this a minute. We went through this scene and get rid of the whole thing. Get it. And at this point, we know it's 8:30. The clock rings, and of course, when we move on through the scene, and he comes back up. So this is a rebirth. He's going backwards down the path one way, as you would come out from your mother. You would be the opposite way around to the way she's facing. You'd be coming out head first. So you're backwards to her, so to speak. and now he's turned around coming this way. So this is again, this is just another rebirth scene in Back to the Future. Okay, and then we move along here, and we have the number. Well, let's move all the way along. We have 9-1 referenced, 9 and 1 referenced, and we went through this stuff. But this is the time period we're in right now. We're at the start of September, okay? And of course, this can be a 1 or it could be a number 10 as well, because we've got this kind of circle around the 1 here, okay? Anyway, let's go back to this. I want to show you now. You're probably already thinking, wow, that's a water feature in front of the clock tower, Dan. In this scene, and there's also a water feature in front of the clock tower. Okay, so let's go to Back to the Future 2, and let me show you. Actually, I want to back up a little bit here before we get onto this. Just show you the water feature in front of the clock tower first. Okay, so this is Marty on the hoverboard, or the hoverboard, if we'd like to call it Hoover. It's all about Hoover stuff. Okay, hang on, come on, let's get a better shot of this. Surely I'll click in a good spot in just a second. Okay, well, you can't really see it very good there either. Batter up. Okay, here's the water. And what Marty's going to do, this is kind of alright. Marty's going to take the plunge here in just a second. Okay, in fact, we'll just leave it on this scene. So Marty is actually going to be reborn right here again as well. Yeah, he's going to be reborn. He's going to go into the water and come back out. Baptism, okay, rebirth. And you know, we've talked about this. The idea of this being this being Lake Mead, you know, and the Hoover Dam right here. I think it's this board here is going to hit part of that thing. Yeah, the jet board is going to hit part of this end part of the rock wall here. Okay, a reference to hitting the dam, and then they're going to smash through this window here again, another reference to hitting the dam. So anyway, we've got the water features. So now we've got the water feature connection with this and this. Okay, we've got the tie back to the dollar bill, because this is all in the dollar bill. The Hoover Dam's all in the dollar bill, and this next date I've just started talking about again, which is the 10th of November is in the dollar bill, and we've got another date before that might show up something with Madonna, which is the 22nd of October. Anyway, we will come on to that stuff here in a couple of videos time probably. What I want to do is show you this part. Look, when he's coming through the doorway here, the gateway, you know, the tunnel, being born. Okay, he's going into this amphitheater. There's steps here. Okay, steps, yeah, and these are steps basically. And look at the shape of this thing. Now let's go back to the clock tower, and let me just draw on here for you so you can see. You know, let's look at the shape of the glass that's on the clock tower. Now notice we've got the steps here going up to the temple, yeah, the Charlie Kirk. Okay, the Temple of Diana, Charles and Diana. Okay, the glass panes are very sort of geometrical pattern here. Okay, and they're in this sort of pattern. Pretty similar to the pattern of these steps here. Okay, fairly similar indeed. Okay, so you see, this could well be a representation of the actual clock tower here. And of course we've got this wall here, you know, like the idea of coming through that wall, being reborn, okay, and then going back out of that wall, yeah, as a martyr, yeah, Marty turns to martyr, okay. So there's this idea of death, resurrection, and yeah, it's all there in Back to the Future basically. This is all, this whole set here is, you know, it's in Back to the Future. This is basically it. Okay, absolutely insane. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. It's like every video right now is just crazy, crazy stuff. Okay. Did I have another little thing to say about that? No, not really. Here's those lakes. Look at this is the one that's in the Eye of Providence here, the phallic symbolism, and then we've got the feminine symbolism in the other pool. Just crazy. And then in the amphitheater little area, they've got this little waterfall there as well. Why is that not coming up? There's the, oh, here's a better picture from, so this would be seeing those two lakey things, water features, not really lakes, but you know, when we're dealing with that's the English term for a formal water feature, I guess, like that in a garden, you call it a lake, even though it's nowhere near as the size of a proper lake. This is the one I wanted. Okay, and then we can see again the waterfall stuff, kind of interesting. I don't know what you make of that really, with a re-reference to what's on the other side of it, basically. I'm gonna call it quits there. That's probably good enough. You know, again, just crazy with the clock tower. You know, the town square, and this whole thing. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Thanks for watching. God bless, and yeah, I'll try and do that dollar bill. Keep going on about it. Maybe I'll just do it now. Let's look at the time. No, maybe I'll do it tomorrow morning if I get up early enough. Alright, thanks for watching. Right, cheers. Bye.